The next asset on our watch list for today is the cable market, that is the GBPUSD, and in fact we've been doing pretty well in the last 24 hours as we finally saw the US dollar gain some positive traction against the GBPUSD, and of course ahead of the Jackson Symposium, Jackson Hole Symposium, and of course the first chairman speech coming up much more later in the day. Now, I would like to run through how the week started for us here before we go into the details. So, at the beginning of the week, we had a range. Remember, we saw price action confined between the 1.27250 and the 1.275, giving us a flat channel to work with, as you will see. And of course, you know how we use this kind of channel. When they come up on our chart, we wait patiently for either a breakout or breakdown of that range. And in fact, for the first half of the week, it was more of buying, as we saw price broke out of that range, had a resistant level to incite our first buy position for the week. And in fact, we joined that move, added one more positions at the breakout of the 1.278, and we had about a 50 pips move for the first position, while the second position moved about 25 pips before the bearish momentum began, taking us out of that position with some modest size of profit. And I told us all on Tuesday that for counter trend traders, you can capitalize on this breakdown of the 1.278 into this area to join join that counter trend opportunity. But that later turned out to be the beginning of a downfall of the pound sterling. Now, during the live session on Tuesday, we talked about the breakdown of the 1.27250 to trigger our first sell position for the week. And in fact, I told us all on that Wednesday that if for those who had missed out on the breakdown of the 1.27250, that we should remain a little bit more patient, waiting for new structures to emerge, which of course one of them will be price coming back to retest the structure that was broken to incite a downtrend scenario. And for those who are taking advantage of this opportunity, well done to you. And remember that we also acknowledge multiple levels that we said if price breaks down of these structures, we shall be adding more sell positions. We have levels such as the 1.271, as you'll see here. We had the 1.267, and of course, we had the 1.26200 level yesterday, which was also broken to maximize the potential of this bearish move. So at this point in time, we have over 300 pips running in profit from 4 good positions at this point. Now, for those who still have a sell position running right now, it is quite necessary that you move all your stop losses to secure this current sell position, as anything could happen from this area. And considering the fact that today is the last trading day of the week, we are likely going to be seeing some reversal setup that might happen. It's just an opinion based on how market participants react on the last trading day of the week. So we want to keep that idea open. So with the current situation here, I'm of the opinion that anywhere around the 1.26200 area seems most appropriate to secure this current sell position at this point in time. Now, in anticipation of the New York session today, how do we intend to manage this position? How do we intend to trade the GBPUSD? What is it that we want to see on this chart that will make us want to buy or sell this asset? Well, the first thing I observed this morning while trying to decipher what our next line of action would be is this level at the 1.25600 area. This is the lowest point price action has been for this week, and in fact, when price got into that level during the early hours of today, we begin to see some buy pressure around that area. Now, a lot of people might be thinking it's time to start buying. Well, for me, I have a different opinion about this current structure, and one of the things I'm noticing here is the 1.262 level, which was broken yesterday. Now, remember the 1.262, we talked about this yesterday. We talked about how this level had been a strong buying niche since the beginning of this month. Look at what happened here at the beginning of the month. Look at this 1.262. Very strong buying niche. We saw how sellers have been struggling around that area since the beginning of the month. Look at what happened here. Buy pressure. Look at what happened here last week's trading session. We saw buy pressure. And look at what happened here during the midweek. We saw buy pressure here until yesterday's trading session when price action finally broke through that level to the downside. So we finally had a breakdown of that structure, which is a significant signal that we might likely be seeing a downtrend scenario. Now, with this situation here, from a technical standpoint, when price action breaks down a key significant structure, such as the 1.2620 level, we expect at some point in time, price is likely going to come back, retest that structure, and the appearance of selling pressure around or below that level is going to incite a downtrend continuation. So the buy pressure we have been witnessing here since the beginning of today may likely turn out to be a retracement of that impulsive bearish move we witnessed here yesterday. So you can see how it is very necessary that we exercise some patience and see how the market will be reacting to the 1.262 to decide what our next line of action will be. Now, coupled with this structure we have here is the descending trend line we spotted here at the beginning of the week. Now, remember, we connected the series of lower highs. It has been a strong bearish momentum, of course, since the beginning of the week. So we have this descending trend line figured out. Now, you know how we use our descending trend lines in this community. As long as price action remains below the descending trend line, we have no business buying that asset. We, of course, want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of selling at this point. Now, interestingly, that descending trend line also shares a beautiful confluence with that 1.262 level, giving us a crucial juncture to be patient enough to see how the market will be reacting to that structure. So there are two ways to which we can capitalize on potential trading opportunities here. The first one is we look out for price coming back into the 1.262, which of course lines up exactly with that descending trend line, where the appearance of selling pressure will give us a scenario where price is about to respect the descending trend line one more time to push price to the downside. So that is one way through which we are going to be capitalizing on a bearish opportunity. However, if price action at some point in time today breaks out of both the 1.262 and the descending trend line we identified earlier, then at this point, we want to start considering buying the GBPUSD. As a breakout of that descending trend line will be a good sign that the trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate that bullish attempt, and in that case scenario, we will have no other choice than to get ready to buy. And of course, if we are going to be buying, we will need some confirmations to happen before we jump into any buy position. And the reason why that is simply because remember that we are on a very strong bearish momentum where a breakout could turn out to be a false breakout. So because of this, we want to be very, very careful. So as soon as we notice the breakout of that structure, we scale down into a lower time frame where we shall be looking out for confirmation that truly this breakout is valid, and this would reflect on the chart as retest of either the trend line or the 1.262 to incite an uptrend continuation. And of course, we have multiple levels which we shall be using to maximize the potential of that bullish move. So we have the 1.267, the 1.271, the 1.2725, and of course the 1.275 if price action continues to break out of these levels. So that is how we are going to be buying the GBPUSD. So you will agree with me that this confluence here is a very crucial moment where, depending on how price action reacts to that level, will determine if we are going to be joining a downtrend continuation or getting ready for a reversal pattern to push price to the upside. Now, there's one more thing I would like to talk about here before I close on the GBPUSD, and that is the 1.256 level. Now, if price action does not climb to as far as the zone at the 1.262, but instead it continues to find lower lows and lower highs, then a breakdown of the 1.256 will be welcoming our next sell position. Now, for those who still have a sell position running, this will be a beautiful opportunity to add more sell position to our existing trade. And for those who will be joining for the first time, this will be an opportunity to be part of the downtrend continuation. So this is how we are going to be managing our trade on the GBPUSD today. And as you can see from what I have said so far, we are at a critical moment where our central focus for today is simply going to be between the 1.262 and the 1.256 level, where we shall be looking out for how the market will be reacting to the zone to determine where it will be heading for today. So you do want to be marking out these levels and trend lines on your screen right now, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decision for today. If you have any questions whatsoever as regards to my explanations, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever as we get prepared for the New York session. And you can as well use that time to quickly mark out these levels on your chart. And you can as well screenshot my screen if you want to. I think that will be much more faster